Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is to log out, or not log out, we have the log, how to slab out a piece of clay and make a small slab, because we only have that one slab roller, right? So we have to be able to do small ones on our own. So you're going to take your clay, and please wait till I'm done before you do this. Okay, and your wire, and you're going to go to about a little more than an inch, roughly about there, and you're going to slice it off as evenly as you can. And again, hold off until I'm done, please. Wait till I'm done. And we're going to place it down on our work surface, and I'm going to borrow your sticks, just real quick. We have so many sets. These are sticks that I like because the thickness is pretty good for what we're trying to do. They're thickness sticks, and we're going to start to roll this out. Now, when you roll this out, it's just the same, okay, as when we do it on the slab roller, right? You have to flip it. Besides the fact that if you don't flip it at all, it's going to press itself into this plastic mat and you won't be able to get it, remove it. So you want to flip it in this direction. Now, if you want something more oval, then just keep it in the same direction. This is small enough that it's fine. I'm going to do something a little more oval. I'm going to move it that way and then finish it off in this direction. Now, you really have to, when you're done with this, you really kind of have to press down and make sure that it's at that thickness. Okay, I'm still kind of working it a little here. And now it's finally done. All right. Once you do that, you're going to take your felting knife, and you want to make sure your tools are clean. That's why I have a bucket at every table. So if you have some dried up old clay on it, you take that small sponge and you clean it off. And I'm going to ask you to make it as large as you can and kind of clean up this edge. So we don't need a cookie cutter for this, and it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay. But it has to be we're cleaning up the edge here, going around the sides, making sure it's kind of straight up and down. Okay. And removing the excess so that you have a nice slab and a good shape. Now, if there's a part that you're like, oh, that kind of sticks out, I want to clean that up. At this point, you can kind of clean it up a little. Get it just the way you want it. And we're going to be learning how to do coil construction. All right, so everybody get to this point and make sure that once you have it, you can lift it, right? And turn it so that it's loose, not attached to your plastic. Okay? All right, so the next step is going to be creating the coils. So you're going to cut from the log of clay that you have a piece that's about an inch, about the same that you just did. And then you're going to slice it. Again, I'm going to have you guys please hold off. Please hold off until I finish the instruction. Thank you. So, and then you're going to cut it in about thirds. So with the thirds, you're going to have this center third that's a little bit thicker. And then with these two side pieces, they're going to be a little thinner. So these two side pieces should stay off to the side. We're going to use this thicker one. Now, we're going to roll this into a coil, and I'm going to explain to you how to do that. It's important we kind of do it in a specific way to help us get a nice, even coil. Okay? So if your surface, again, is not great, you can wipe it off just so you don't have any dried clay on there. And then I start to pinch it out just a little to get it round, right? But now I want to have a fairly thick coil. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to roll it. Oops, I made that a little too wet. Hold on. and it's dry. I'm going to roll it so that I'm rolling it between the tips of my fingers and the heel of my hand. And when you roll out a coil, you will get an even coil if you do it from the tips of your fingers to the heel of your hand. So you want to really try to push it all the way so that you get that full range of motion, and it will come out even. So you notice my hands are spread, and then once it gets wide enough, I can start to do it with my whole hand. I'm trying to keep this on camera, so it's a little difficult for me, but the whole length. And you'll start to get this nice, even coil. If you don't, you'll end up with kind of flat spots on either side. Okay? And you want to try to avoid that. If you do get those, okay, then you can kind of bang it down to get the flat spots out. But you do not want folds in your coil if you can help it. Okay? So you'll see a folded line if you start getting it uneven or flat in one direction. So you want this one pretty thick. And let's give it a measurement to make it easy on everybody. So you see the lines we have in our mats. So I'm going to say you guys want it. This is a little thick. I got to bring this in. Probably a little more than halfway from one square to the next. So on the thick side of that. Does that help? All right, that's the first one. The second one, you're going to want about half that. Okay, and I'll continue to do that up here. Go ahead. In thirds. Thirds. Oh, then that's good. Leave it right like that, yeah. If you've got a hole in it, it's okay. The longer it gets, the harder it is to do. But you guys got this. I know you do. Sometimes you get spots. They're a little goofy. Take them off. And try to make it even. That one. The first one is our base. You don't want to touch that. So again, start off like this. You know, getting it kind of round. Okay. And then again, really, if I had to choose a spot to roll this out, it would definitely be on my palm. That really helps, okay? And try to get it as much onto the fingers as you can. But if you do it just solely with your fingers, they tend to come out weird and in flat spots. It also is helpful, first time doing this, if you stand up. So if you're really struggling, depending on the angle of where your arms are, so you guys, for your coils, you should have one thick one like this, and then two small ones that you would imagine are the same thickness, roughly, as this. What our plan is to twist these together to make them the same as this. So I haven't shown you that yet, so don't start that, because there's a trick to that. But that's what your goal is for getting the thicknesses of your coils. All right, at this point, we're going to start to attach our first coil, which is the thicker coil right here. Okay? And again, we want clean tools, not tools with dried clay on them. So I'm cleaning off my metal rib. If you guys could hold off your conversation because I'm recording. Okay. So we've talked about scoring and using slip. We're going to just use water today, and that's also a totally viable way to attach things. And we're not going to score everything. We're going to score some things and blend things, and I'll show you as we go. But our first layer, this is our base, right? This is our base piece. Our first layer, we do want to do this. We do want to score it. So you want to take your piece. You want to make sure that you can get all the way around, right? And you should have a little extra. And then you're going to score just one side real gently. All the way down. And then you're going to take some water. And you're going to go over this with a little bit of water. On both sides. And then we're going to take that piece and put the scored side down all the way around, making sure that you're meeting that and that it kind of matches your outside edge. And then you're going to take your felting knife and you're going to cut through both ends, making sure that you get kind of a nice clean cut. Like that. And you don't want to cut past into your base. You don't want to do that. You're going to take off one end, take that part end, and then they should meet. They should, be the same size, right? We don't want to forget to score here as well. And we don't want to forget to put a little moisture here. And then we're going to bring those together and blend them. Now the tool to blend them is going to be your wooden tool. And I'm going to talk about wooden tools because there's a bunch back there and they all do different things. So the one that you want to use, and I'm cleaning it off so it looks nice, is this one right here. You see how it's kind of rounded here and it's a little bit wide? This is the one we want to use for this technique. So I'm going to just blend this coil together. Usually if I have one side that's slightly larger than the other, that's the direction I blend. I blend from the larger to the smaller. Alright, so I've got that in place. And then we have to do the inside. We have to blend the inside. And this is going to go for every layer that we do. And we're going to do several layers with different examples of how to coil, different options for coiling. But no matter what, we have to blend. So you guys can see that I'm just taking that inside. I'm also supporting it from the outside. You don't want to smush down a lot of clay. You're just doing a little bit just to blend it on the inside like that. The other thing that you're going to want to do is blend the outside for just the first one. You can leave it, but it makes a slightly goofy edge. So if we look at the outside of this, you have, this is your slab, right? And this is your coil. Visually speaking, what I think everybody will want is kind of a stronger, thicker base. This will be our base, this first coil and the slab. So you want to bring this together. I tend to kind of pinch it a little bit first. See how I'm bringing it over? And then I'll blend that. And we can clean this up a little bit more later as we kind of start to work the surface. But I pinch it just a little. And then I bring it over. You don't need to add any slip or anything else to it. This clay is very, very plastic, very soft. So we should be able to do this and get a great surface. We want to try to not manipulate too much of this coil. We want to kind of leave it as it is. and go all the way around. We get that kind of water squeeze out a little, which is good. All right, and then we have it all blended. And again, I'll like tidy it up a little bit later. Now I want to make sure I have it blended on the inside before I do the next part. I'm always supporting it on the outside wherever I'm trying to do this, because otherwise what you'll end up doing is push your coil out. And we don't want to do that. Move your clay around to make it easy for you. You can clean it up just slightly if you want on the inside there. Okay. That's our base. Now, while I've got your attention, we're going to go to the two thin coils. I'm going to give myself a little space. So I have these two. They look good. They're like the same thickness. And I'm just going to run a little water on them, okay, to keep them moist. And I'm going to twist. So I need eyes up here, please. So I'm going to kind of turn them towards each other so that moisture is having a good connection. I'm going to start in the middle. And we want the twist to go in the same direction on both sides. So you're going to start in one direction on this side and twist it all the way down, right? And I'm getting a little bit of a spot here, so I'll smooth that out. I'm getting a tad of cracking. If you're getting cracking, add a little moisture. I'm probably getting a little cracking because I'm letting them sit out. So that's why I want you guys to work pretty quickly with this. And then I'm going to go from the center in the other direction and twist it down as far as I can. So again, I'm going to try to fix any cracking I have along the edge because we're stretching that clay out. And so that's why it's wanting to crack. It's a little drier on the outside. Add a little moisture. Make sure it stays nice. I'm going to check the other side and make sure my twist is nice and even. Yeah, a little bit on this side. So I'm going to smooth that and add a little water. To help with that cracking. Okay, and now we're going to attach this to this. Now, we have very soft clay because we're working quickly. So I'm going to add a little moisture to this, add a little bit more to this. And I'm not going to score. Okay? I'm going to lay this on this, making sure I maintain my twist. Right? Because as you start to turn it around the surface, it's going to want to kind of almost untwist. And layer it just like I did before, right? I'm going to take my felting knife. I'm going to make sure that I'm cutting this at a good point where they can kind of come back together. And I'm going to cut right through, making sure not to go past to our first coil. Then we'll take off that excess. We'll take off the excess here. And then we're going to bring this together, right? We still do have to score and blend at the end of this coil just to make sure that we don't have it come apart on us. I'm going to bring that together. And then the last thing I'm going to try to do, and again, my sponge to clean off my tools, I'm going to try to get these twists to go together as if they're continuous. Does that make sense the way I'm saying that? So this one I have a little extra. I have a little on the outside, so I'm going to pull this one right over here and blend them. I have a little more material there, so I'm going to blend it so that I have a continual twist. And then the last step that I will have for this will be blending it just on the inside. We're not going to touch the outside because we want to see that, right? So we're going to blend it right here. And again, super important to support it on the outside edge like this. All right, give it a go, guys.